Concetta Abbate, and I'm a violinist, violist, singer, and music composer based in New York City. Thank you to Composers Now for featuring my work on this series and for taking on the mission to empower all living composers, celebrate the diversity of their voices, and honor the significance of their artistic contributions to the cultural fabric of society. I began playing the violin when I was 4 years old. I started off in a local Suzuki violin program. I was born with a visual impairment, and so my parents wanted to nurture my sense of hearing. I had 6 eye surgeries in childhood, which led me to lean heavily on learning by ear, and so I became very skilled at mimicking things I heard or inventing improvisations. This playfulness with sound was an early iteration of what later led to me becoming a composer. In 2015, I released my first album of original music, which I crowdfunded through a Kickstarter campaign. At the time, I was working as a busking musician, playing violin and singing with many different bands and ensembles around the New York City subway system. As a freelancer just starting out, I had a curiosity and adventurousness that led me to play in groups that spanned the genres of classical to contemporary classical to free improvisation, various Latin music groups, including mariachi and South American fusion, as well as punk bands, grunge bands, songwriter bands, and trip hop. I wanted to create an album that gave the feel for what it's like to be a New York City freelancer. The album itself features artists from the many different projects that I was playing with at the time. It's a time capsule of my early career. It also includes field recordings interspersed between the tracks to give a cinematic insight into my day-to-day life. The track that you'll hear now is called Burst, and it is about the perspective of a star being born in the sky. It is a representation of what my early career felt like, trying to find my voice. In this recording, I utilized sonified electromagnetic frequencies of the sun, which I downloaded from the NASA website. You'll hear them prominently in the center of the song, which gives a feeling of creativity and excitement.
It was a minor plan. It was a minor flaw. The fiery glow of beginning began. It was a minor plan. It was a minor flaw. The fiery glow of beginning began, and the sun all in flames for the first time, and the planets content in a straight line. Celestial bodies and bones find their way into a new light. Give an elementary description of life. They take a new form, they grow, find their way into a new life. It's a sudden collision, a sudden rise. They are whole, wants to be.
Because my sense of sight developed in an unconventional way, my brain began to draw heavy associations between mental visuals and sound. I have a strong association between colors and key signatures, or even colors and certain notes. So for my next album, I wanted to make a project that was specifically focused on the experience of synesthesia and the neurodivergent ways in which artists experience empathy. My second album, Mirror Touch, was released in 2020. It was funded by the International Association of Scientists, Artists, and Synesthetes, and it premiered at the Royal Conservatory of Antwerp as part of their Convergence Arts and Synesthesia Conference. The album explores neurodivergent experiences of grief and loss. The title comes from a specific type of synesthesia, which manifests as an extreme empathetic experience through mirror neurons. The song that you'll hear next is called Forgetful.
Fall beneath the wind and stars. All the world seems close and far. Till the morning I'll see you in my head through the gray clouds up in the skies of yesterday. Memories sit between all those hours.
During the COVID lockdowns, I spent a lot of time improvising and composing alone in an attic space. Because I was sharing a house with other people, I had to continuously practice with a brass mute on top of my violin. I began to love the muted sound and think about how the buried sound of the violin mimicked the buried memories of the attic space in which I was improvising. I was mesmerized by all the dust, which would continuously move and twinkle in the sunlight that came through the window. I wrote this melody incorporating the brass mute on the violin that emulates the swirling dust and the feeling of time standing still, and the sentiment that I can finally take the time to notice these minute details. I recorded myself playing this melody and sent it to my friend and longtime composer and collaborator, Charlie Rao, who added a guitar part to my initial melody. We both hope that you enjoy this composition dust beneath the floorboards. My most recent album, Laminaria, a folk horror chamber music suite, is a musical depiction of an underwater sea witch emerging from a kelp forest. The title comes from the Latin word for kelp, a plant that stands on the crux between life and death, which is used medicinally to induce labor for both birth or abortion. The piece explores lived experiences of mental health crisis, utilizing an undersea shadow figure as a symbolism for experiences clouded by trauma. The piece is composed for chamber orchestra, including woodwinds, strings, handmade percussion, and voice. It was choreographed by the Wendy Osterman Dance Company, which we performed 2 years in a row for Halloween weekend runs. The album recording was funded by New Music USA, and the recording will be released on the Naxos International Classical Music Library through Composers Concordance Records this fall 2024. The album release show will be at the BioBat Art Space in the Brooklyn Army Terminal, October 12th, 2024. What you'll hear next is a 5-minute excerpt that happens right at the top of the second movement of the piece, in which the sea witch finally emerges to the surface and encounters the sun for the first time. Invisible Light is a multi-sensory electroacoustic chamber music composition notated through video installation made in collaboration with video artist David Orr, who primarily works with the mandala art form. The piece premiered at the Stone Circle Theater in 2023 and has been subsequently performed at venues including the Brooklyn Friends Academy as well as Tibet House for their Climate Change Week fundraiser for the Birdsong Project. It is an exploration of the way in which birds navigate using electromagnetic frequencies. This piece draws awareness to habitat destruction, the mass extinction of animals, and the mystery of how birds perceive the world that scientists still don't fully understand. I created recordings using electromagnetic microphones, picking up invisible sounds of everyday objects, accessing a part of the world which is more perceptible to birds than humans. These electromagnetic sounds were embedded into David Orr's animation, which is only visible to the audience. The musicians have a separate video which serves as the music conductor of the piece, offering the musicians guided directions for each section of David Orr's animation. The video and music follow a narrative arc in which a bird is lost from its flock, only to find that their throng has died away. David and I seek to highlight the importance of interspecies understanding and to acknowledge the mass ecological grief felt around the loss of climate change. The music may be performed by any combination of mixed flexible chamber ensemble, but this particular recording includes strings, brass, woodwinds, percussion, and live vocalization. I hope you enjoy Invisible Light. 2021, I became a death doula through the National End-of-Life Doula Association. And since then, I've been exploring ways to combine my work as an end-of-life doula with my work as an artist, performer, and composer. Living through the pandemic, as well as some other personal life experiences, made me realize how unprepared our society is to deal with the challenges surrounding end-of-life care and grief. Through careful practice and research, I founded a music organization called Sound and Memory, which provides live music for memorial services and celebrations of life, but also provides educational performance workshops for the public on topics surrounding end of life. Sound and Memory is a fiscally sponsored project of the Group Muse Foundation. This is an excerpt of my project Treehouse, which is about exploring secular music ritual in contemporary eco-burial practices. The research surrounding this work has been supported by the Urban Soil Institute on Governor's Island. I hope you enjoy this sneak peek preview of my work in progress entitled Treehouse.
Nothing more.
Thank you for taking the time to learn about my music and listen to my story. I have a couple more premieres coming up in 2024 and 2025, including the Ridgewood Glendale Sound Walk, as well as Mythology of Greening, which is a series of pieces written for vocalizing string quartet in dedication to plants. If you'd like to stay up to date on my work and future premieres, you can follow me on my website, my Instagram, or my YouTube channel.